If I can have everyone's attention, please. The date today is December 12, 2016. It's Monday, 5:30 p.m., and this is the meeting of the Paris City Council, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. As usual, we will start the meeting with the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Anderson, followed by Ms. Lancaster. If I can have everyone please stand.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you first of all for the privilege that we have to come to you in prayer. And Father, we pray as always for our elected officials tonight as they have many complex issues that they need to consider. And Father, we know that local government has such an impact upon our citizens, Father, more so in many ways than the state and federal government does. So we pray and ask that you'd give them wisdom and understanding. And Father, might we progress our city and make it better and better. For these things we do pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just want to acknowledge Maisie Frierson. Mr. Frierson will be here. His daughter is getting an award for UIL today, so he'll be running a little bit behind, but he'll be here shortly. With that, our next item is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or individual personnel appeals are not appropriate for the Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. If you want to address, please come forward, write your name and address for the record. Mr. Flowers?
Keith Flowers, 305 First Southwest. I've already signed in. Ms. Mosley and I are here, I think, here to talk about the same issue. I'm here to address the requirement of the city of Paris to have natural gas inspections if your gas has been off more than 90 days. I want to share a story. About 3 weeks ago, I was in Dollar General store over on Bonham Street, and there was an elderly lady checking out in front of me. She had an electric heater, and I was standing behind her, and she turned around and asked me a question about this electric heater. And I asked her, I said, ma'am, what are you trying to do? And she said, I'm trying to heat my house. And I said, ma'am, this electric heater is not going to heat your house. Why on earth are you trying to heat your house with this little 1,500-watt electric heater? She said, well, she lived on fixed income. She told me she drew about $700 a month Social Security, that she had her natural gas service turned off for the summers to save money. She went to have her gas service turned back on, and she was told because her gas service had been off like 4.5 months, she had to have a city inspection. She calls the plumber. Plumber tells her it's going to be $150 for her to come out, for them to come out, pressure test, get an inspection prior to Atmos being able to turn on her gas, and she simply didn't have the money to get that done. That got me thinking. I mean, we've have house fires around here all the time, and probably a lot of them are caused by these little electric heaters. So I start doing research. First thing I do is I contact Reno, and I ask Reno, I said, what are y'all's requirements for natural gas inspections? I was told by several people out there, one of them being the former mayor, who happens to be a plumber also, said Atmos gave total jurisdiction to the city. They told Reno, said, you can do this, you cannot do this. We really don't care, because when we come out and put the gas meter in, we're going to check for leaks. If there are leaks there, we're not going to turn the gas on. We're going to take the meter out, and we're not going to put the meter back until there are leaks. So Reno chose not to do this because they said it was just an extra burden on the citizens. So I contacted Atmos Energy. I went up the chain of command. I talked to Atmos. Atmos said the same thing. They said, we're going to check for leaks. This is up to the city. They said, we're going to come out, whether the city has inspected this or not, we're going to check for leaks. If there's leaks there, we're not going to turn the gas on. Said this is entirely the jurisdiction of the city, but said it doesn't make us any difference if they do it or not. So I said, is this a safety issue? And the gentleman I talked to from Atmos told me that said Roxton had gas service, Blossom had gas service, Reno had gas service. They did not require city inspections, and how many houses have blown up in these communities? This is an undue financial burden on the citizens of Paris, and something needs to be done about it.
It's not my beeper. What's beeping? Fire alarm? Okay.
I found myself, Louise Mosley, I found myself in the same predicament. I took over finances for my husband, and I saw $79 on our gas bill at a storage house that he has had for over 25 years. So I thought I could save a lot of money, $79, if I stopped the gas. And so I did, without asking him, by the way, which was a big mistake. I told him what I had done, and he said, that's going to cost you. And I had no idea how much it was going to cost us. So when it turned wintertime, I tried to get this gas turned on, and they told me I had to get a plumber, and then I had to get an inspection, and then I had to wait for them to okay it. I had to go back to the city and get the okay. By the time I got through with everything, it cost me $620 to get my gas on. That is no gas used. That is just how much it cost me out of my pocket. They required a deposit, and I know you have nothing to do with that, but it's the point of how much it cost me, $620, just to get the gas turned on. It is a burden to have, and trying to get a plumber. It was 2 weeks waiting for a plumber, and I just made it before it turned 22 degrees, and I got the gas turned on that day. So it is definitely a burden for someone who is on a fixed income. I think we need to reevaluate it because it does no good. It helps the plumbers. They make a lot of money. It's a bread and butter deal for them, but it really hurts financially other people. And I just want to express my opinion on that and see if you guys could do something to take that away. The inspections it makes it look like that we don't trust our gas company, because the gas company goes out there and they did a pressure gauge. So why did I have to pay for a plumber to go out and do a pressure gauge? So it's not trusting our gas company to do their job. And then it was $65 for them to come out and do another pressure gauge. It was just one repetition after another of the same thing done, and money wasted, I think. Now I'll get my gas bill next month, and I'll have to pay that. So it'll be an expensive month to turn on gas. I just wanted to express my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mosley. Mr. Bell?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to speak in favor. I wasn't going to speak on this item coming up, but I would speak in favor from the real estate industry. It affects our rentals. It affects our sales in trying to get the lines checked. There is too much red tape to it, but we do want to make sure that things are safe. But there are a lot of people, and most of your houses, your older homes, are heated by gas. And the people that's affecting are your lower echelon and our lower income people. So if there's anything to be done to either speed it up and reduce the cost of it, it would be helpful. On a house sale, if it did have gas in it and it's been on the marketing period of time, it's an act of Congress to get it checked, turned on just for an inspection, and it must be done in order to get the home sold. So I'd speak in favor of anything can be done on the city's part. Thank you.
If there's nobody else wanting to speak in the Citizens Forum, the Citizens Forum is now closed. We'll move to the next agenda item, and that is recognition of Amanda Willows and Coleman Morris for their leadership in raising funds to purchase life-saving equipment as part of Lamar County Adopt a Cop program. Does anyone want to describe this maybe a little bit?
I hope the chief does. Mr. Mayor, Council, back in July when we lost 5 Dallas area police officers, a grassroots organization over in Hopkins County, Sulphur Springs, actually started a Adopt a Cop program to provide police officers, most all police officers get bullet-resistant vests anyway. These vests will not stop rifle rounds. And what this program was set up for is to buy a quick don vest that has armor plating in it that is capable of stopping rifle rounds. Amanda and Coleman both saw this taking place. They decided to start one here in Lamar County, and we have 132 peace officers total in Lamar County. And through their efforts, they raised enough money not only to provide each officer with this armor-plated vest after they got started, and I think it only took them about 2 days to raise the money for the vest. They had additional monies come in, and they issued everybody a ballistic helmet as well. And so it was something from the grassroots. It was 2 citizens of Lamar County saw a need, reacted to it, and provided every officer with potentially life-saving equipment.
Are they here?
Yes.
Okay.
Could y'all come up? No camera. Just a real quick side note, the 62 officers of the Paris Police Department, that was about $28,000 or $29,000 that they gave us. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Frierson, congratulations
Thank you,
on
sir.
your daughter. All right. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Any of the council members have any concerns or issues with the consent agenda? Ms. Drake, Mr. Frierson,
No, sir.
Dr. Clifford,
No, sir.
Mr. Trinado,
No, sir.
Mr. Jenkins,
No, sir.
Ms. Lancaster.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Item number 9, receive demolition and code enforcement activity reports. I don't know if Robert Talley is here.
What's your question?
My question is there any concerted effort to eliminate the badly dilapidated homes that are still around the West Paris Trail? I'm quite sure I would not want my child to walk down that trail with those dilapidated buildings still there. So I would like to see that addressed.
Mr. Godwin, you got that right.
Yes, sir. In fact, that's already one of the priorities that I gave Robert.
Your mic is completely off.
That was a priority that Robert was given a week and a half ago, so he is working on those.
Good. Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
There was a question on the resolution designating an official newspaper. Do you want to say anything about it?
Only that that's required by state law, and we have not done that in a long time, if ever, so it's just a technicality to comply with state law.
Okay. All right. I'll take a motion on this consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. We move to the next agenda item, receive input from citizens, discuss and act on a presentation regarding street bond project. Actually, you can keep it and just forward it so that I can read it. Actually, I had put this item on the agenda, and just so that I can describe it a little bit, you know, with the annexation of areas in the county from PJC, actually the total amount of tax that we will pay will go down. I'll have some slides that I will show. Our roads are in bad condition and need some help, and this is just a suggestion. We don't have to act on this item today. I'd really like to have input from the citizens as to how they feel about this. And if everybody feels in favor of it, then maybe at a future council meeting we can proceed with it. So if I can have the next slide. Over the years, the roads in the city of Paris have deteriorated, and not a clear-cut plan has been formulated so far towards redoing these streets. The plan which I'm talking about is not necessarily of what we need to do. I'm talking about a financial plan for this. Part of this is because we've not had enough finances to support it, and part of it is because we have been concentrating on other important things in the city that were being done, such as the water and sewer bond project. If we continue to ignore this very serious issue, over the course of time, the roads will get worse and worse, and then we finally reach a point that a huge bond will be needed to address this problem. If we were to try to fix the almost 324 miles of street in the city, it will take millions of dollars, and the city with its current finances can't afford it. Currently, with the water and sewer bond project, some roads are going to be redone only to the extent of the amount of damage that is caused, or if the damage is extensive, then the entire street will be replaced as per our bond language. This will still leave an enormous number of streets that are really in bad shape. Currently, the city and other taxing authorities' structure is as follows. Mr. Anderson, you're here. Can you just come up and just go with this so that I have you over here? So the current city tax rate is 0.50. PJC currently was 0.1173. Tax rate by PISD is 1.45, and tax rate of Lamar County is 0.40. Next slide. Mr. Anderson, can you explain this slide a little bit, please?
The one that you have up there now?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's been projected because of the inclusion of the entire county now in PJC's tax base, that they will lower their taxes in the coming year down to 8 cents per $100 worth of valuation. And that's based on the numbers that they announced themselves, based on what they intended to do. And so, in other words, the total tax rate for all the taxing entities that fall inside the city of Paris would drop, by that.
By about 8 cents?
By 8 cents,
Okay.
yes.
And the remainder of the rates that I've written down, which is the PISD Lamar County rate, does not change. So in other words, the city of Paris residents will be paying almost 0.08 cents less in taxes. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, next slide. So Mr. Anderson did this calculation with me, and Mr. Godwin was very helpful with all of this. So the average home value, if we take in the city at $76,302, currently pays a total yearly tax of $1,938.72. If we were to do nothing, the same home value at $76,302 will now be paying a tax of $1,864.48 from 2017 onwards, if we were to do nothing and leave our tax rate the same and see a drop in the PJC tax rate. Correct?
Correct.
So suppose that out of the 8 cents decrease that we have from PJC, if we were to add 0.05 cents to the city tax. So what I'm talking about is that actually we will be raising the tax. I don't want to give a wrong impression that we are not wanting to raise the tax, but in spite of raising the tax, the total tax that we pay will still be less. So we have done some calculations on this. So an average home of $76,302 will in that case be paying a tax of $1,902.63 instead of what we are paying currently, which is $1,938.72. Now, again, I want to go back to the previous slide to just make it very clear that if we were to do nothing, we would be paying a tax of $1,864.48. And if we were to add 5 cents to our taxes, we would be paying $1,902, still about $36 less than what we have been paying. Next slide, please. So the choices that we have are the following. One, at the current rate, the tax is $1,938.72. Do nothing and see our taxes just go down to $1,864.48. Two, consider a share in the drop, which basically means that since the PJC tax will be going down by 8 cents, we add 5 cents to the city, bring the tax rate to 0.55, correct, Mr. Anderson?
Correct.
And the tax that we pay on the average house that we have calculated to go to $1,902, still less than what we are paying currently. Next slide. If we were to share the drop in taxes amongst ourselves for the betterment of our badly needed roads, we would generate almost $11 million in revenue, while our annual taxes will still go down by $36 in spite of an increase in tax rate. $36, basically it amounts to almost $3 a month is about what it costs us, and it will result in redoing our badly needed streets. Remember, it is still a decrease in the amount of money that you pay as property tax. Now, I've been told by many not to present this in my last few months as the mayor, since why do you want to take the heat on any subject? And my answer was, if you don't want to take the heat, don't go into the kitchen. So I have gone into the kitchen. So here is my presentation, and it is for you as residents of this community to decide that while your actual payments go down in property taxes, would you be willing to improve the streets in your town? If you feel that $3 a month is worth it, support the idea and say yes, fully realizing that your actual payment of taxes goes down, not up. If you like the status quo and want the streets to remain the same, say no. No one is here to force more taxes on anyone. It is your choice as a community member. If you want to share and reap the benefits of our success with the PJC vote, please go ahead and vote yes for it. We will try our best to identify and take considerations from citizens as to what streets they want done first and which ones of the streets they feel are most important, and then come to a conclusion. A list of city streets has been compiled already by Mr. Anderson, and I mean, not Mr. Anderson, Mr. Godwin, sorry. But obviously it can be changed based on what residents want. One should remember that we are all one city, and so any improvement anywhere in the district should be taken as improvement in the city. It generates almost $11 million that can be used for improvement of your streets while you pay less taxes than you have been paying in the past. Mr. Godwin, if you can just show the list of streets or how much streets are covered by the $11 million, you had a slide on that.
I don't think we have an actual slide, do we?
Not including this.
Okay.
It's with our
Maybe
memo.
you could just describe how much coverage did we...
And I don't have my iPad with me, but I can sure go over the list. Thank you. We do have a list of 18 streets, and all 18 streets would not be able to be funded, but these were the streets that we as a staff came up with as priorities.
And this would be, tell us what will be covered by the 11 million.
Okay. The first about 11 of these streets in this, based on this particular list, would be covered. And in kind of an order of priority based on what we reviewed internally, Church Street, which is $1.8 million, 33rd Southeast, which is $2.6 million, 24th Southeast, about $2.8 million, Collegiate from Lamar to Clarksville, especially in front of the school there, is about $364,000. Graham from 3rd to the railroad track, $1.7 million. 6th Street from Pine Bluff to Evergreen, that's both north and south, Pine Bluff to Evergreen, $548,000. 7th Northwest from Graham to Center, which is $386,000. 17th Northeast from Clarksville to Pine Bluff, about $1.1 million. 3rd Street, from Sherman to Provine, about $583,000. That is a road, to remind you, that was largely damaged by a utility project from about 2 years ago when we had the contractor that was not very good at all. 1st Street Southwest from Kaufman to Pine Bluff, Southeast, I think I said Southwest. 8th from Pine Bluff to Old Jefferson Road. Those are the ones that would probably be funded with that $10 to $11 million based on if that's the order that's used. Of course, there'd probably be some changes to the order. 12th Street from Pine Bluff to Old Jefferson. East Cherry from 25th to 20th. Clement from the Loop to Maine. 7th Southwest from Washington to Bonham. Washington itself from 7th to 19th. Fitzhugh from Pine Bluff to Hickory. And another section of Graham from the railroad track west to 14th Northwest. So again, 18 projects, 17 different roads, because Graham's in two pieces.
And it's throughout the city.
Correct. Those are scattered about the city. Those are in every area and every council district.
Mr. Anderson, if we were to do this, does it affect our bond rating? Does it affect the city financially any way, in any bad form?
Well, I think the city's, where it is currently, is financially capable of taking on that much debt based on the 2 bond ratings that we just got for the bond issue we did earlier this month. So I think we could absorb that fine. We would want to look at the sizing of the bond issue. If you keep it at $10 million or below, they are bank qualified, and all that means is that it would save us about 0.5% on the interest rate, which over 20 years, depending on what the final rate comes out to, would save us in interest somewhere between $500,000 and $900,000. So we'd want to look at that. And we also would have to be able, or expect to be able to spend any bond issue we have within 3 years of the time that it's issued. So all those would be factors we'd have to consider on the sizing of it.
All right. Ms. Drake, any questions? Ms. Drake, can you pull your mic towards you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you answered some of the questions that I had about how would that affect us. So right now, I don't have anything else.
Mr. Frierson?
Well, I find myself kind of in a interesting position because fundamentally I understand the dire need of road improvement, and it's something that we've talked about for years. And, frankly, I don't know, voting right back in a nickel tax increase something I would necessarily sign up for. But so to that extent, your proposal at this point, if the council temperature says so, is to put this to a vote, right? Let the public decide?
It depends on what feeling we get from this is not for tonight to decide by any means. But I think to get an input from the public, because if the input is mostly positive, then instead of going through an election process, we do a certificate of obligation. If, on the other hand, we get a mixed opinion from people, that was, we are not sure whether they want it or they don't,
right,
then I think we should put it on the ballot. If we get a definite negative opinion, then there's no point in us doing a ballot. We should just simply say that, well, people don't want it at this point.
Well,
so I think it's not something, it's something to ponder on,
right,
but it's not something that we need to decide today. I think we can put it through a number of council meetings and do it as an agenda item a few times and see what kind of input we get.
right. And I think that's well thought out to let the public have a voice, because I know during the last bond, we, as a consensus, said this needs to be the voice of the people. It doesn't need to be these 7.
Yeah.
Let the people speak. And I want to make sure that if that is the road that's chosen, I would be more comfortable with a public vote. As far as the mechanism that you're talking about, I get the dollars and cents of it. I don't know that I necessarily have any questions about what the presentation is. I'll be interested to see what the feedback from the community is.
Absolutely.
Dr. Clifford?
Yeah, the $11 million, that'll be generated over what time period? Is this a 20-year you're talking about?
Year level
If we
pay.
committed this money to this in whatever form, it would generate approximately $11 million, correct?
It would allow us to issue $11 million in debt. And over the course of 20 years, we'd be paying interest, so it'd cost us more than $11 million, but yeah.
But the money we would get from the tax increase would cover that amount of money?
Yes.
And I'm in agreement too. I'd want to know that the people wanted this for sure, if the people wanted it. So I welcome the comments and the discussion that hopefully will follow.
And I don't think we need to be committed. If you feel that 10 million is a better number, then 10 million is a better number if it saves money. Mr. Trinado?
I think we ought to hear from the citizens and what they think, whether they want to put it on a ballot or come up here and say yes or no. But it is really a good idea, I think. That's just my feeling.
Mr. Jenkins?
I kind of feel the same way.
Okay. Ms. Lancaster?
Let me ask you if 7th Northwest was,
It was on there.
was it on there?
Yes, ma'am.
It was on
Oh,
there.
good, because it's
It's a
horrible
great
shape.
priority.
I'm
It's number 7, in fact.
good, very good.
Yeah, it's a
You,
mess.
looks like you did a good job identifying our really bad streets.
All right. So with that said, we would request the paper to publish, and we'd really request citizens to come next meeting and the following meeting to give us their input or write letters or talk to your council member and give everybody a little input for whether you like the idea or don't like the idea. That would be greatly appreciated.
Call us, email us.
Yeah,
anything.
whichever which way. It would be best if we can get emails, but if we can't, then whatever which way. All right, any further discussion on this? Does anyone have anything else to add to this or no? No? Okay. So we move to the next agenda item, is item number 18, continue the public hearing and discuss and act on an ordinance regarding the petition of Jerry and Linda Stevens for a change in zoning from single-family dwelling district number 2 SF2 to a multifamily dwelling district number 2 MF2 on City Block 262, lots 8A and 12 being located on 1240 Northeast 20th Street. I'd like to make a motion to untable this item first of all.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Brief description, please, so that we can let them talk on what they want to say.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening and happy holidays to everybody. This project was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission by a 4-to-1 decision back in November, and at the request of, at that time, attorney representing the Stevens, it was requested to be tabled to this evening. The item also generated a protest from citizens that represented more than 20% of the area around 200 feet from the boundary of the property. That's in the zoning ordinance, and that's a state local government code. So approval of this project on the part of the council would require 6 of the 7 votes, 3/4. Now, as you read the agenda, the staff had suggested 2 options, one single family and the other multiple family as requested by the applicant. In reviewing the data submitted to us, the staff, with all due respect to all parties, felt that the applicants who were in opposition, as well as the staff, had appropriate arguments for sustaining the existing zoning on the property. We also felt, again, with due respect, that the citizens recommending the protest document, the staff did not agree with everything they said. In addition, the applicant's representative, Chad Stevens, we felt had some good points regarding multiple family, but on the other hand, again, with due respect, the staff did not agree with all of the comments made in support of that. As an overriding comment, however, staff recognizes and agrees that the development community, the building community, developers, a number of staff members who are involved in physical development in the city recognize there is a need for single family and multiple family as well. So having said that, the staff provided options, and we gave you the points in support of those 2 positions. Staff would be pleased to answer any questions you have. I know that the applicant representative is here this evening.
Thank you. So with the council's permission, what I'd like to do is open the public hearing, let public speak, and then we can discuss it. So the public
Thank
hearing
you.
is now open. If anyone wants to speak for or against, is more than welcome to come and speak. Please write your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Chad Stevens. I live at 3935 Miranda Drive, and I'm here tonight to represent my parents. They've owned this land for 43 years, and it's pretty evident that they're not going to develop it. And as it is, it'll just remain vacant unless, of course, we can get this project underway, which is proposed multifamily. We currently have the property under contract, but it is subject to being rezoned to multifamily. The developer is planning a $5 million investment in our city, and I believe it will be a win-win for all involved, especially the neighbors. Some of the pros on this: it will beautify the neighborhood. It'll be a beautiful first-class facility. It'll resemble what you see in North Dallas and Plano. They'll clean up the area where it's 12.5 acres of just rough brush. It'll be more like a park-like setting. Safety reasons, prevent, peeping toms, theft, burglary, squatters, snakes, varmints. Also, with the improvements, we feel like it'll alleviate the down gradient water problems with proper engineering and retention ponds. There will be natural and professional landscape green belt around the property, and that'll be for aesthetics and privacy reasons. Possibly raise the property values of the surrounding properties. There will be a stringent screening process for background checks, references, and so forth to help ensure good neighbors. And of course, it'll provide jobs during construction and after construction for contractors, suppliers, management and maintenance when the project is completed, and more tax revenue for the city. At this time, I'd like to address some of the concerns that the neighbors had. We want what is good for the neighbors and the city, which we think will basically benefit everyone. Some of the concerns were safety, which we are purchasing at the end of 22nd Northeast a lot so we can gain access to the rear of the property. So there will be 2 ingress and egress to the property. The heavy traffic, that was an issue. The city and TxDOT will address these issues and provide a plan if necessary. They will do a traffic impact analysis and determine what is needed to make the recommendations. And according to the city engineer, the TxDOT right-of-way is adequate and no dedication of right-of-way is required. The flood zone was also an issue. And of course, you have to improve something to fix something. And with good engineering and detention ponds, it will more likely cure or alleviate any future problems for the neighbors. Any flood issues will be addressed by the city engineering permitting process at that time when they present a building plan and a site plan. And of course, the new landowner will be responsible for the corrections. And as it is, if nothing is improved, the neighbors will always have some type of water problems. And again, they were not sure about the plans of the development. The developer is proposing a maximum of 2-story apartments. They will not exceed 2 stories. They only need about 4 to 5 acres out of about a 13-acre tract, and they will not build near fences, drainage, or utility easements, which are near the houses on 22nd Northeast. It'll pretty much sit in the middle of that land, so basically you're going to have natural and man-made green belts, and it'll be good for all concerned, I believe. The quality and appeal resemble apartments in North Dallas, and Hamilton Properties, which is the developer proposing this, have built over 4,400 units in 5 different states, and they have an excellent rating. And when I was looking at this and I was trying to figure out if there were any cons to this development, and I couldn't think of anything. The items that I just addressed can be corrected with the improvements that are proposed. And of course, Hamilton Properties made a great point. They said that we can invest $5 million in the city of Paris, or we can invest $5 million in the city of Waxahachie. But at this time, I'd like to address any concerns that the city council may have.
Actually, give us a little time to hear the other side if others want to speak, and then we'll get
Sure.
back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else? Okay.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Jeff Hill. I live at 480 Airport Road. Thank you for your time. I grew up in Paris, and I graduated from North Lamar in 1984. From there, I went to college, met my wife, and moved to Houston, where she's from, and started a business, and I've been there for the last 30 years. And recently, we decided to kind of slow down a little. The kids are older, and we wanted to move back, show her my hometown. She's never lived anywhere other than Houston, so I wanted to rent a place for a while before I, bought anything, to see how she fit in, if she liked it. She actually wanted to move somewhere into downtown. She thought maybe a loft or something and try to be part of the community and meet people that way. But we had a hard time finding a place to rent. There were no apartments available to rent, and it took us almost 6 months to find a place, and we were lucky. We love where we are. It's wonderful. But when they asked me to go around and talk to some of the neighbors next to this proposed project, I thought that I'd be a good person to do that because I was, had trouble renting a place. And what I found is most of the people, when I gave them pictures of what the apartments would look like, they were excited about it. I mean, almost every one of them. I didn't get anyone tell me, I don't want that back there. I'm against that. It's really dark. There's woods. They think they've had 60-something crimes within a 2-block radius within the last 6 months. Varmints and things coming in. There were some concerns on the northwest end of 22nd Street. There are a couple of families, or 3, I think, that are getting water in their home when they have, severe rains. So that is a legitimate concern. But, as I told them, if you leave it the way it is, nothing's going to change. They're going to continue to get water in their house. But this might be a way, when you bring engineers in, and with the retention pond that Chad mentioned, maybe this drainage problem might improve and help them. I don't think it would hurt them any worse than it is. As I did this and started talking to people, I was informed that there was a petition against it. As I addressed that with the residents, they almost all said, well, we heard it was going to be Section 8 housing, or it was going to be really tall buildings. They started comparing it to other apartment complexes in Paris, saying they don't want that there. So I heard a lot of that. But when they saw the pictures, every one of them said, we'd love to have something like that back there. So I asked, well, why did you sign the petition that you signed? And they were told it was going to be Section 8, that it was going to be real tall, they were going to build right up to the property line. Didn't mention anything about the green belt. They had no idea. No one had seen pictures of the proposed property at that time. So it was just misinformation. They just didn't have all the facts. So I went around and we started a new petition. I believe there's 27 homes that actually border the property. I was able to speak to 12 of those homeowners, and 8 of them signed the petition to be removed from the other petition. So, and then 2 of them came to the planning and zoning, which I thought said a lot. They got in their car and drove all the way up here and said they'd like to be removed from the other petition. They just weren't getting all the information. And when they saw what this place would look like, they were all for it. If I lived there, I would want something. And we know the city needs something like this. So I've got this petition I can give you. The 4 people out of the 12 that I spoke to that didn't sign this didn't want to because they didn't want to upset a neighbor that had asked them to sign the other petition. So that's why they said they would just not, they didn't want to rock the boat, didn't want to do anything to make anybody mad in their neighborhood. And they said, just verbally, I'm not against this, but I don't want to sign anything else. So that's
Thank you very
basically all
much.
I have. You want a copy of this?
We're all right for now, I think. Anybody else wanting to speak?
Good evening. My name is Steve Keywood. I live at 2602 Lamar Avenue, apartment 2A. Now, I do live in an apartment, and I think that apartment living is fine. My neighbors are all good. I feel safe, secure there. I've had no trouble, good lighting, security there. And I also think that, I attended the planning and zoning meeting that we had. It was very good to see the process they went through. There were probably about 20 people that spoke at that meeting and talking about the pros and cons. And I saw that, it is a process, you go through. There are checks and balances to ensure that if this is approved, that the right permits have to be made and taken in order for this property to ever be developed on that land. And overall, I think it's great that we have somebody that's willing to come into Paris and spend $5 million and invest here and put nice apartments here. We do need those in Paris. I think it's a very good thing for us. I'd like to see them come to Paris, Texas. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Bell. Thank you again for allowing me to come up here. And I come not to speak necessarily about the zoning. I want you all to look at all of the Hillcrest area. It's built it's a bowl. The land west of it, the land south of it, the land east of it, all drains into the Hillcrest area. And I own and I manage property in that area. And there are a lot of homes that flooded, especially along 22nd Northeast on the west side. That is before any development going in there. And single-family homes might be worse as far as drainage. The engineers have got to get that water to go west. Now, when you go west, you're going to hit 20th Street, bar ditches. You're not going to be able to make a safe factor there if you don't get state participation and put a turn lane in 20th Street at Martin Luther King intersection from there all the way around and come down some. There are some things that need to be done, and the developers are willing to do that, I think, and work with the city on it, but it's the only way to make it safe and take care of the drainage. You may go out there and look. You look at a drainage ditch that's running right down the middle of Hillcrest. There is a drainage ditch on the west side of those homes along 22nd. The homes that are on the west side. That drainage ditch hadn't been cleaned out and hadn't any work done to it in a long, long, long time. And I don't see any coming under the current projects right now. It may be and they just haven't gotten to it. I don't know. So If it isn't, you better be prepared. There's going to be some money spent by somebody to correct that drainage, and it needs to be done whether they do their work or not. It's just the correction. Is it going to be this big to handle the current situation or bigger to handle their situation? No development has occurred around that subdivision in a number of years, and I will tell you that I represent Randy Rader and his estate. We got 4 acres on the east side we'd like to develop. Can't develop it unless it's multifamily. This development probably wouldn't go in unless it's multifamily. So I see pros and cons, but you've got a problem that's going to have to be handled, and we're going to have assurances. I don't want to spend the money we had to spend on some of these houses, cleaning the mud out of them, and that was without any development up there. So the fact that they're mentioning these things and saying they're willing to look at them, we need to not only look at them, we need to engineer them and make sure we take care of them. Safety factor, you need a turn lane on 20th Street. State might help us on that. As a side note, while you're looking at your streets, look at Lamar Avenue from 20th Street to 12th Street. You've got traffic backed up past 24th Street any number of times a day. We've got a 5-lane moving into a 2-lane. Add that to some of your, and the state might help on that too. Just throw that in as extra.
I'm Jim Montgomery. I'm not like most of the people up here. I live 100 feet from the property. I am in the neighborhood. I don't live out of town or in the city limits. I live in the city limits, and I try to write down here what I need to go. I go with Mr. Bell on the safety as the main issue. I don't know where they're going to have these outlets to go into these apartments, but they can't have them on that curb. Because I live 200 feet from that curb, and I've lived there 46 years. And if I back out and I look at that curb and there's nothing coming, time I get out on the road, somebody's on me. That's the biggest thing. My concern is what I'm here for. I know Hillcrest has really got a problem with flooding. I understand their problem. But safety, and like the mailman said, there was a car running on that curb there. He had just delivered the mail, and it went right through the door with a mailbox on it. He said, you need to tell the city council if they put any roads near there, somebody's not only going to get hurt, they're going to get killed. Now, I've talked to the state. I've talked to TxDOT. They said they have no plans of doing anything to that road. I said, you can't straighten it out or do anything. Said, it's not feasible. We just got through blacktopping it and striping it. So, you know, I don't know what you can do with the state, but that road, like Mr. Bill said, that's a big issue. That's the main issue for me. And let's see, Miss Long, she lives right next to the property. She wanted me to speak for her. She's against it. Miss Keith, she passed away, but her daughter told me she was against this. There's too much congestion on that road already. You put more congestion on there, it's going to be more accidents. Now let's see, but the water is the main problem for the Hillcrest folks and the neighbors down there. I know they got a problem, and I know they say they can solve it, but you know, politicians promise a lot of things, but they don't deliver after it's already signed. So I hope you can really consider this road on the safety of it. Unless the state can do something to this road, it's an accident fixing to happen. I'm sorry, folks. That's just an accident fixing to happen. And why do you think it took 40 years to get this past the zoning committee? When I first come up here, I was 40 years old. I'm 74 now. And I come up here with the same issues, safety and flooding. And it was never got past the zoning committee. Okay, I got one other issue that protest was at the zoning committee. First of all, I appreciate every one of y'all for taking times out of your life to be on the city council, listen to our arguments, listen to our grievances and stuff. But when one of your councilmen comes up here to the zoning committee and sits back here, and when they're taking a vote, and he does this to the zoning, the side that's wanting it rezoned, I don't think it's right. He should have come up here if he wanted to talk like the rest of us. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who's wanting to speak?
Cindy Toms.
Ms. Tong, can you bring the mic close to you, please? The mic.
Do I need to sign that?
No, you can later on, but just bring the mic close so that we can,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Much better.
Okay. I'm Cindy Toms, and I've lived at 1255 22nd Northeast for 40 years. I'm against the rezoning and construction because, number one, the comprehensive land plan recommends the property be zoned moderate density residential. We are told all the good plans for this project. But the fact remains we have literally no guarantees on anything once the zoning is changed. Number two is the increased amount of water that will be added due to concrete and construction. All of this land drains to the back of the houses on 22nd Northeast, which involves 16 houses right there. You cannot make water drain uphill. If somehow you got the water to come out on 20th, then it comes around the curve and down to the same ditch that flows to the Ford house. So whether it comes out the back or whether it comes out the front, it's coming down and going into the same ditch. Then it's passing the problem on down to the Ballard Street houses, the backs of their houses. You have to understand that this is not one or two streets flowing into this narrow little ditch, but a whole sector. It includes 20th Northeast and pretty much all of the streets of Hillcrest in one way or another. They all come together at the ditch on 20th. Try to understand how much water that is. That ditch is too narrow at that point to carry this amount of water, and it is nearly completely clogged up at the spur 139 on both sides of the roads where it should empty. It has got to get out somewhere or the people behind it flood. People have flooded since the Ford house built because the ditch was not clean either behind at 20th or at the end at the spur. It is critical that the ditches, this one especially on 20th, be kept clean at, well, both ends at all times in order for it to work for everyone. So how can you possibly add more water to the mix by allowing a complex to be built when you already have a big problem here? Then I'll move on to number three. The traffic in this area has increased tenfold with the continued increase in the development along 195. The business traffic, the school buses, and the trash pickup add to the danger on this curve with the stops and starts. You have highway traffic on an inner city road with no shoulder and no place for people to walk but the white line. Think about the number of cars this construction would add to the mix. Remember, most people have at least 2 cars and then the visitors. We have all seen turned over cars and hit telephone poles on the curb. The postman told his wife if he didn't come home to look in the ditch on 20th. Number 4, I do not care what anyone says. Everyone knows how low-income housing will cause our property values to fall. I've heard no one say that it's not low-income housing. If it doesn't cause property values to fall, why are they not built around Oak Creek or Morningside? Mr. Harper compared us to where he lives, which backs up to the Spanish Oaks. But it's not the same. He is on the same level as those apartments. These that are going to be built sit nearly to the roof of my house. And then you'll have 2 stories on top of that. He is also not in a floodplain. Clarksville and Collegiate gets all his water because they are downhill from him. We are not, and his house is not at risk of flooding. We also do not want another Casa Bonita on down the road. Number 5, with only one entrance to the complex, which he says now that there will be 2, one severely constricts the emergency vehicles. I thank all of you for your time and the opportunity to express my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody? Okay.
I am Virginia Allen, and I live at 1240 22nd Northeast. I want you to stop a minute and think about what you want Paris to look like 15 years from now. Is everything inside the loop going to be low income? Isn't there any place else to build it? When you take people around, we have companies that come, or just people passing through, what are they going to see? My son tried to get me to move out of this place 15 years ago, and I've lived there 21. And he says, Mother, I told you what was going to happen. In the packet of materials that you've been given, you have maps as well as the 109 signatures of those asking you to deny this. We have 51 signatures from owners, and those are specified owners. And then we have 58 signatures of concerned citizens and our renters. Now, those concerned citizens are still within our Briarwood area. These 109 families that live there and will deal with your decision the rest of their lives. Many of us, most of us, are elderly, and our homes is all we've got. They're not, these 109 families are not the Stevens family members or people who work with them that come and talked at the planning and zoning, but we are the people that will live with what is left, what is there. Remember, the area has flood zones on both sides of it. Now, that area only has a part there, but it still will, if you put concrete down, there's not going to be drainage. And people, we have problems, and you can't drive by it and see it. You'd have to walk it. More concrete will cause more water to come down on us. More drainage problems in Hillcrest. Will our water and sewer be able to handle this? We already have problems. You're putting more people into that area than live in the surrounding area now. Farm to Market Road 195 has all the traffic coming into it and is used quite frequently, and y'all have probably got to have the statistics where they've had a counter at some point and how much traffic there is. But it has no ditches and no shoulders. Tonight, as I was coming down here, there was a man walking a dog. And I said a prayer, and I hope he wasn't it, because it's dangerous. And when you put people out there, there's no grocery stores, get and goes type thing for these people to shop. Remember, the topsoil has been removed from this. And I don't know whether Stevens did it or the ones before them, but I know it's been in the 21 years that I've lived there, there was topsoil removed by the truckloads, and many times it was at night. Anyone that lives on 20th Street will tell you how dangerous it is. And if you don't believe me, just pull up into one of those driveways and see what it's like to get out. And then you're going to put more people into this. You're asking for someone to be killed. And it could be you, or it could be a child. Please stop and think, if Paris needs low income, and if you say yes to that, is there not a safer place to put it? A better place without the drainage problems? I appreciate you all and the work you do, but I ask you again, you can put a picture up and put a bow around it and say, wouldn't you like to live here? But not tell them how much it's going to cost them. How much can they afford if they change their mind? I thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm one of those people who have experienced the flooding in my home. I live at 1325 22nd Northeast. This last rain, I had water in 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. I have paid taxes there since 1976 on improved property, not raw land. I think we need some consideration for the people who are living there and being flooded. The city has come out and tried to help with this situation on this water from higher. In doing that, they cut off both of my ditches that were on east side of the house that had the drainage ditch. I can't think of the name of them now, but I had paid a lot of money to have drainage areas put on each side of my house. When they put the stuff in back there, they closed that off. Another person who lived next door to me put another ditch in at the back to try to carry some of this water off from uphill. The city closed that down when I fell in a hole back there. I would have broken my neck if it had not been for ground cover cloth I had. The hole was 16 foot deep, and it had washed out from that area. I ask you to come out and look at this property. Come behind my house and everybody else's so you can see, or have the city engineers come out and see, because this is a real problem. And I had hoped to be able to die there, but I may have to move. And when I called for flood insurance, they said it would cost me $1,960.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to speak? Mr. Smallwood?
My name is Bobby, excuse me, my name is Bobby Smallwood. I live at 3116 Stillhouse Road, and I want to speak, I'm in favor of this for several reasons. First of all, it would be nice to add $5 million to our tax rolls. Also, I have calls just real regular, people wanting places to rent, they can't find them and all that. And another reason, Jerry Bob and I have been friends our lives, and naturally I want to help him, but I have friends that live in Hillcrest Edition too. And I really believe with all my heart that the engineers and the city is going to require this property to be developed so that the water runs off better than it does now. And like I said, I would never be for this if I thought if I even thought any way at all that it would hurt any of these people. So anyway, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Hill, and I live at 1235 22nd Northeast. I've lived at this address for 36 years. We started out with a small ditch behind my house, and it enlarged year after year until it was a very large, very deep hole in my backyard. The city came in and they put a concrete tubing system through the backs of each house, all the way up to, I think it's Mrs. Tom's house.
And I'm not sure about the one that goes on down, but I think it goes on down. I talked to them when they were putting it in. Of course, I know nothing. I'm a woman. I'm not supposed to know anything. So I told them, I said, by the amount of water that goes down this ditch, that will not hold it. And I was proven right and correct. The trash, the leaves, all kinds of garbage collects at the ends of this tube where the water begins to flow down, and it stops it up. No water can even get down it. And then it has to flow around into the backyards and then go down that way. My yard, I had, what are they called? These timbers, garden timbers. And I had them on my fence. I had as much water there to move those about 8 feet from my fence. Just this last big rain we had. And it settles in the backyard of my backyard, and it just sits there. It comes within inches of my door. It has never come in, thank goodness, but it comes within inches. My biggest thing is this water. Now, the project that they're talking about may help a lot of people, but it doesn't help us. The more concrete you have, the more water runoff that you have. And I know that. Everybody knows that. So I just, please, come out and walk this. I've walked it. I've walked it several times. And it's really, you really see the problems that we have when you walk it. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
One thing that I do want to say, I had water up to my knees, and I went down to pull the timbers out of the ditch. You all think it's just a little bit of water. It's not.
I don't live in that neighborhood, and I'm not familiar with the water situation there, but I'll tell you.
Name and address, please. I know it, but you need to give your...
Michael Glatfelder. Okay, I go to Hot Springs a lot, several times a month, and I'm familiar with Hamilton Properties. Boys and girls, you just won the lottery if Hamilton Property wants to build here. What they have in Hot Springs is excellent housing, and it will shame the slumlords around here if it's built. However, because there's something wrong in the Public Works Department, there's something wrong with the government, we're probably not going to build this project. And I can tell you, there's a domino effect. If you get Hamilton Property in here to build, others will follow. You want this project, you're going to have to work this out. This is a good project if these people are involved with it. And if you don't build in this neighborhood, bring it over to Southeast 6th Street. We'll take it. We'd love to have it built over there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. First of all, we appreciate y'all's hard work. We know that you know why you're here, and that's to protect the citizens and all the people that built this town, not the developers, not anybody wanting to make money. I'm a general contractor, but I've seen a lot in my life. I've worked with side-to-side city council members and worked in land and development.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
My address is
Name and
1130 20th Street. I have a home there.
Name?
Cecil Ballard Jr. I was born here as well. And I've invested in this town, and I love this town. I look at all the citizens here, and they're concerned. Nobody that I know of walked down 20th Street and asked anybody their opinions. And as far as these different paperwork that they say they have, that'll be great to see that as well. I wasn't knocked on my door. Again, I'm a general contractor, and would I like growth and everything? Sure, it puts money in my pocket, but I don't want it in this neighborhood. I think would make the area go backwards. There's many other places around Paris that would flourish with it. It won't be as condensed in a bad area, and I've studied that area well. My grandmother from many, many years ago lived on that little side street off of 195, and we all cherished that home, and our whole family all came in and celebrated every year. And Paris has changed a lot, and we need to have growth. We got problems with our taxes as well, but because we have a problem in one spot of our segment, you don't just force something in another spot to generate taxes. You have to use good judgment in where we put these places, because we, as you say, we have a lot of road issues already. Now we're talking about having more traffic problems with this apartment complex. I've been in the apartment associations. I've made plenty of money in doing that line of work, and yeah, it would benefit me, but I think it's a bad move. I believe there's better places. As this gentleman said, he'd like it over in his area. Take it over there. You've got many places on the loop to put it. You've got one thing I noticed, Mr. Harper, I believe he was here at our last meeting, I believe. He operate the meeting, I believe. Anyhow, the gentleman that ran the operations at our last meeting, he suggested that he was living around some of the apartments that we have here, and he said he didn't have a problem with it. He gets home and everything. And he said, wow, I live 1,600 feet away from the real close apartment. Well, if we really figure out what 1,600 feet is, that's almost a third of a mile away. Most of these ladies and gentlemen here that live their whole life here live 5 feet away from a lot of construction and a big change in life fixing to occur if y'all let this happen. I'm not suggesting not to let it happen, but not in this area. The problem is that, yes, there's a lot of dirt and debris that's been taken out back in, I believe, 70s or 80s. And there's some erosion problems on the back of my property at 1120. I have 2 pieces of property there, and it's eroding away rapidly. We've talked about how the apartment developer is going to do a great job on developing and landscaping. Who's going to control all that 12 acres, 13 acres of landscaping when all the construction's over? I've seen how that went in many projects that I've looked over, and there's a lot of promises, and the picture looks real pretty right now. But all these people over here are going to have to live with it the rest of their life. I just really, truly hope y'all take a lot of consideration in the people that live here. 60% of them are homeowners that are going to be affected at least. The rest of them are maybe some renters, but a lot of them the homeowners. What's the guarantee of what the quality really is going to be here? I'm sure y'all had guarantees about all your other apartments that look like garbage now. There's some of them that I would not live in, but they have been deteriorated over time. Money, taxes, and everything else has probably caused some of that. If it's done right, yes, bring it in, but not there. We've got traffic problems, as I said. Another thing, they said they were going to develop approximately 4 acres. What's going to be with the other 8 acres? They're just going to leave it rough, natural, they say. Well, trucks and everything have took out dirt out of that 12 acres for many years, I believe, and all the information I've gathered, was sold to make profits and money. Well, now that needs to get gone, apparently, and dump it on a developer. Okay, if we do it right, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with selling your property and getting out of something that you probably will never, ever utilize. I would do the same thing. But the citizens have to be protected. Who is going to come to my back of my property right now and fill that all back in to where I'm losing all my fencing? Not just me, but other members as well. We're really counting on you guys to protect us. We don't want a lot of developing there. Think about us going in our backyards and all this tranquility that we have now. We'll have cars and everybody honking to go to work. It's going to change a lot. I've seen it, and I know y'all have too. I want to, just a few points, because I don't do this every day, I'm sorry. Again, Mr. Harper is 1,600 feet away from the apartments that he says doesn't affect him. Most of these people are within feet. That makes a lot of difference. The erosion control and the water that was already mentioned by some of the homeowners, there's a reason for that. Water is flooding on both sides when it comes down. There's a big, big, deep hole back there. I took some pictures, but I don't have it available for you. This area that we're talking about, these people that have lived here forever, it was kind of like a sanctuary to a degree of single house development. It's like we knew we was going to be there forever. And now it's all going to be changed out and so much more traffic. Some of these individuals, homeowners, they're older, they need more time to watch traffic. It's going to get really crazy if y'all allow this. I've seen it so many times. 195 is horrible already. And yes, I love this town, and I've seen in other towns that when they put apartment complex in, they brought in the tax money, but it ruined the area, and they constantly had problems with it. There's other places that we can put this. It won't solve the land that's trying to be sold right now. I've made offers to buy it as well, just to make sure nothing ever got out of hand there. I thought maybe fix the place up and make it a park. Well, that's not going to happen with a land developer coming in and putting apartments. I made offers. I was told maybe they've got other deals. So what else? I think we need a deep depth study on the existing erosion. Please don't make your decisions so hastily unless it is to protect the citizens and not have it there. That's all I can say. Thank you for your time, and I really appreciate y'all. And I know y'all have a really hard job to make it fair and also to protect the city and make sure we have revenue. I know that, but we can do it in other areas. Thank you.
Anybody else wanting to speak?
My name is Robert Woodby, R.P. Woodby.
Can you bring the mic a little closer to you, please?
My name is Robert Woodby, or R.P. Woodby, and I'm a brother-in-law to Jerry Bob, and I would approve his project here, but I think a good engineer could engineer that property to take care of the water situation. So if they can do that, that would be fine. Otherwise, Jerry Bob's got a piece of property that the city won't let him do anything with, and they ought to be reimbursed for that if they don't let them build something there. Thank you.
My name is Janice Woodby. I am Jerry's sister. Wonderful family. They will do everything that they have promised to do, and I am definitely in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ofelia Velasquez. I live on 920 Northeast 20th Street. I have a family that is living right now with me that they don't have a home because they came from a rental place. So to me, it's a good idea to have this done. And another, that where I live, I mean, it does, it floods too. Last year, it flooded in my house, under my house. I live by myself with my brother, but I think we all have that problem too. But where I have an acre in the back of my house, but there's some some people living in back of my house that they do drugs, and one time I caught them doing drugs in the back of my house, and we live by ourselves, so you get scared. So, and then another thing, we have a lot of possums, so it's good if they clean up. So that's my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Pat Murphy. I live at 2523 County Road 13200. My office is at 5295 Clarksville Street. I've been a real estate appraiser in this town for about 38 years now. The Stevens just asked me to come and say what I thought about this project. I understand the homeowners' concerns. And it seems to me you have two main issues here. You have an existing issue with a water problem, which needs to be addressed on you've got a current drainage problem on a project going on right now. This is not on it. It certainly needs to be added to it. The first 13 houses on 22nd Street are in the floodplain. Their lots are 135 feet deep. The floodplain, the way I scale it's about 200 feet deep. That's going to put it 65 feet over into the subject property. Those developers are not going to get into that 65 feet. They're not going to tackle that if they can anywhere around it. So the existing problem that most of them are facing needs to be handled by y'all in the course of doing your drainage projects. The future handling the drainage of this apartment project is something that you handle all the time in every new commercial development there is. You handle it with retention ponds and plumes and culverts and the way you do the site. That's your site engineering, and that's done under the supervision of the city staff. And you have the final hammer, the staff does. You have a permitting process. You don't grant the permit if they don't agree to do what you want them to do to handle the water on this project. So that's really a non-issue. The traffic issue needs to be worked out between the developer and the TxDOT and the city. But some have said that they would like to see single family back there instead of multifamily. Well, that single family is not feasible back there, and it won't be in the foreseeable future. You just can't do it. It's not feasible. The lot cost for a $100,000 house is the same as the lot cost per running foot for a $400,000 house, but the lot values are a lot different. And there's no basis for saying that they're going to lose property values. In the past, we've done studies. You take the 2600 Lamar, the Regency Apartments, they back up to the north side of Hubbard Street, just west of Collegiate. They've never shown any loss in value compared to the ones across the street. You got the Collegiate Village right across from Lamar National Bank. They back up to some homes on Hubbard, and they back up to the end of Margaret Street. Those homes have never shown, and their lots when they sold, never showed any loss in value. You've got Continental Village backs up to the south side of Houston Street. It's the same way. Those houses have never shown any loss in value. They're not going to be sitting there on their back porch looking right straight at a house. I mean, they're going to be at least past the floodplain. To not grant this multifamily deal, and that's the issue, is the highest and best use of that land, and it's multifamily. To not do that is a penalty on the taxpayer. The taxpayers that are paying the bill right now, the Stevens, and the taxpayers of all the rest of us that pay city taxes, because the project wasn't built. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, if there is nobody else wanting to speak, I do have a few questions, and then you can give some explanation. Yes, sir. If I can make one request, and that is if we can please make the presentations short, we would appreciate it.
I will make it very short.
You don't have to make it very short.
I'm George Stevens. I'm Jerry Bob's brother. Of course, I guess you might say I've known him all my life. And I know him to be a hard-working man and a good Christian man, along with his wife, Linda. She's like a sister to us. They're really good people. He's been a businessman for 50 years, and I think he wouldn't do anything to jeopardize these wonderful people over here that's been talking this tonight. And so I stand with Jerry Bob and Linda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. If there is nobody else wanting to speak, I do have a couple of questions, some technical questions and some other questions. So the first question that I have, you had mentioned something about acquiring a property on 22nd Street to egress, right? Where is that?
Yes, sir. The property is going to be at the very end, which is going to be the south.
985?
I'm sorry, I don't see an address, but the Giffords own that property. And the only thing that we're waiting on is
Can you take a look here and just point it out to me?
right next to 985, correct.
Okay. All right.
And the Giffords have agreed to sell that to us, and it's in an estate, and the executor we're waiting on their signatures for the attorney to get this deal done. So anyway, we secured that lot for back ingress and egress.
Okay. Do you want to address some of the questions before I ask the council members for if they have any questions, or you want to wait till the council discusses it a little bit?
Well, I'd like to address a couple of the things that were said.
Okay, go ahead.
About the
again, please make it point-wise and brief, because we've been on this item. Not that we want to ignore it, because I think all of you are concerned. That's why you're here. So say it to your heart's desire, but maybe just a little compress it.
Yes, sir. About the accidents or possibility of accidents, we contacted the Paris Police Department, gave them the address on the subject property and the property in the curve, and there hasn't been a wreck since 1995, according to the Paris Police Department. And that street, excuse me, averages about 5,000 cars daily. If we were to develop this into 50 homes or 50-unit apartments, you're still going to have the same amount of traffic either way, so that's not going to change. There was a mention of low-income housing. There's nothing further from the truth. This is not low-income housing. Matter of fact, the developer receives tax credits for developing these properties, and if he doesn't properly maintain these properties, then he'll lose his tax credits, which could be several $100,000. So he has a professional management company, as well as an excellent record of maintaining the properties. So I don't see where that's going to have a negative effect on any future values of the property. Talking about neighborhoods with apartments, they're everywhere. There's Johnson Woods, there's commercial in Oak Creek. You've got a 5-story hotel looking right down the back of Wood Hollow in Oak Creek. You know, they talked about the amount of signatures. We didn't go for volume. We just went out there and took a test of everybody's thoughts on this, and 8 out of the 12 people that were approached were for the project and wished that they could have taken their names off of the petition. If we were looking for looking for greater numbers, we would have done our footwork and got out there and quadruple the amount of names on the petition that was furnished by them. Talking about removing soil, if you look out at Home Depot, that was a huge hill at one time. They removed all that dirt, and they've been able to maintain proper drainage with concrete parking, curb and gutter, and retention ponds. And talking about we took dirt at night, there hasn't been any dirt taken off that property in 43 years, and she mentioned that she was viewing them, watching us remove dirt at the middle of the night, which I don't know why someone would do it at night, but that's neither here or there. And also, there are several multifamily properties in the neighborhood, and I can take a 4-iron and drive a golf ball to the nearest multifamily, which is across from First Christian Church, next to our property. So we're not asking for the exception and make where it's not compatible, the use. There are several multifamily properties within a couple block radius of our property. And I don't see where that would be an issue.
All right. If you're done, I have a few things that I would like to say, and then we'll open it for the rest of the council. First of all, irrespective of the council decision tonight of how the council votes on this subject, I want to ask the city manager that their water problem and their drainage problem needs to be prioritized, because irrespective of whether the council votes for it or against it, they have an issue. Their homes are being flooded. While we are doing other areas in town, let's make it a priority that their issue is resolved one way or another. And that's not, I'm not saying it based on the approval or non-approval, but that problem, we have addressed it in other areas. Let's make it a priority to address this problem. Now, I'm always against flooding. I'm particularly against flooding of elderly people's home, and I think there are two ladies sitting over here who we have discussed this with them, and we have tried our best as a city to help them with this problem. And we will continue to do that. But by the same token, I understand the other side. I would like to know from the city if there is a particular way of making sure that it's not that, supposing if we vote tonight that do it, that it doesn't happen that tomorrow that there is no retention ponds, that their homes are being flooded worse than ever, that the issue with the traffic that they've discussed is not addressed. So we need, if we were to approve it, we need to have some teeth in this, that we can implement what we have said if we are to approve it. Now, having said that, I will also say that, I opposed the Ford dealership because of drainage issues, and I think we went through this before. And I will say I stand corrected on it, because the thing is, the homes in the back of it, as much as I can tell you, didn't get flooded. So I was wrong on that. But I want to have 100% assurance, whether it's from them or from somebody else, that if we were to vote yes, or if I was to vote yes, I'm not speaking for others, that there is definitely a clause made that the concerns that their homes are not so high that there are 3-4 floors built on that others have intrusion of privacy. By the same token, that appropriate drainage ditches are created, appropriate fire lanes are created, appropriate ingress and egress is created. As far as having a quiet neighborhood, and I have complete sympathy with all those who are here from both sides, because they want to develop, you don't want to develop. I can understand points from both sides, but I would be okay with its development not living there if those issues were settled. And not just settled that we say, okay, yes, and tomorrow the developer comes and he does whatever he wants to do, and then those poor people who are sitting there are flooded more than ever before. But if those guarantees can be made, and if the city can be strong enough in implementing the ordinances that it has, that it doesn't happen, and not only going to the extent of making sure that their drainage problems are resolved before we even build it, then I'm for it. If we can't put those things into it, then I'm against it. So with that said, I'll open it up for other discussions. Ms. Drake, or let's start with Ms. Lancaster. I keep pointing on you every time.
Well, this is a drainage problem from a long time, and I was involved sometime in the past years. And I don't see that we've really, as a city, addressed that area. And I agree with Dr. Hosmy. I would very much like to see good housing put in that area, but we've got to have assurances that that drainage is going to be fixed.
Mr. Jenkins?
I'm all for development, but my main concern is that it's a bad curve right there. Now, if we can get some kind of, and the way the ditches are, it's got to be a lot of work done there. It's a very bad area. I know it is, but I am all for development.
Mr. Trinado?
Okay, Chad, they mentioned low income. These aren't low income apartments, are they? No, sir. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay, now, could this, just a minute, I got to that. Okay, the city has to give the okay on the flooding and everything there. Is that right? Is that correct, Mr. Godwin?
Correct. They would be required to submit a drainage plan. And I believe that we're doing a significantly better job of enforcing those drainage requirements. Now, the one thing I need to clarify is that a new developer is not responsible for fixing an existing problem. They're responsible for keeping, maintaining the status quo. Now, they may very well improve it, but we can't require them to do that part of it.
Okay. Chad, did y'all say that y'all were going to improve the flow down there?
Yeah, that's all part of the site plan. They realize that there's a floodplain just right down the slope from them. And so all that's going to be addressed, and the last thing they want to do is force more water on the neighbors, and then they become responsible because you cannot legally run water on your neighbor's property. And so that they're going to try to cure that with the engineering and retention ponds. And of course that will slow the flow, but the water is going to be the same regardless if you got 2 inches of rain or 1 inch of rain. The water is all going to be the same. As it is right now, it is just draining down to 22nd Street.
Yeah, but I'm going to interrupt you, but don't you think more concrete will make a difference? The water may be the same, but there may be some difference because of the concrete that is built.
Well, yes, it's true that concrete, the water is going to run faster, but with concrete, you can control the water. Without concrete, you're dealing with removable soil, which is going to erode if you use an embankment or a ditch or something like that. But if you've got it, just like on the channel easements that TxDOT requires, that it has a concrete lining in the bottom of the ditch, and that is to help the flow and to remove the water faster. So concrete moves water faster, but you can move it where you want to move it versus being at the mercy of Mother Nature and the way the topography naturally is.
Okay, Dr. Cliff, I'm sorry, Mr. Trinado, you
One more
said.
thing. But y'all work with the city.
Yes, sir.
And to get the cities okay, and everybody working together, right, to get
Yes,
this
sir.
problem solved. Okay, thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Dr. Clifford.
Okay. Well, this is one of those difficult things, too. I sympathize with the people that live there, but I also see the developer's side. I as someone interested in the growth of Paris, I know we need apartment spaces in Paris. It's going to hurt our growth if people can't move here on a temporary basis before they decide to move here permanently, and that's what apartments do. So I'm generally in favor of this, but I definitely, my two concerns when I first saw this were the drainage and the traffic flow, especially the ingress and egress to the property. And I think those absolutely have to be addressed to the satisfaction of the engineers to make sure that we don't create problems here. But overall, I'd hate to see the city lose the tax base, and I'd hate to see the city lose the ability to have short-term, long-term, intermediate-term apartments that will help the growth of the city.
Mr. Frierson.
I think from the first time I saw this, my first concern was traffic, and I'm still not sure. I'm pleasantly surprised to see that there was a proactive solution that, in an effort to try to direct traffic another way. I guess my questions, and maybe that's not a question for tonight about zoning, but how difficult, if this is all controlled by TxDOT, realistically, if everybody wants to cooperate, really, what is the feasibility? I just don't have any feel for,
Yeah, two parts to that. One is you mentioned the ingress and egress, and you want to have two places of ingress and egress for public safety purposes, if nothing else, not just for traffic. And so the applicant is pursuing that, and hopefully that will come to fruition. Second part of it is actual traffic counts and intersections and curves and so forth, which folks are worried about. Because it's a TxDOT road, we have no control over that. We can ask and we can cajole. TxDOT can tell us no. It's especially a challenge for TxDOT, I'm guessing, because the right-of-way there is fairly narrow. There's not a lot of space. Right. Once upon a time, cities could require developers to build a turn lane at their cost. A number of lawsuits back in the 90s where some cities got carried away with doing that. That's no longer something we can require. So turn lane would probably make a lot of sense if this gets built, but we don't have the requirement to do that. So we would require some sort of traffic plan to be submitted, which, like you said, I think is not part of zoning. But we do have a lot less ability because it's a state highway there.
Okay. And the second point that everybody's talked about, but Mr. Murphy brought up an interesting point for me. Chad, I don't know, since I haven't seen any pictures of this, relatively speaking, are they intending to build in the middle of the property, or do you have any idea?
Correct.
Okay.
They specifically want a buffer zone. They, of course, when you've got 13 acres of land, but you only need 4 or 5
Right.
for the actual project, then there's going to be excess land. And I would assume that it's not going to be lopsided and being at one area versus the other. But we don't have a site plan to base this off of right now. What I provided to the plan and zoning were pictures from a project in Sulphur Springs on how they look and the appeal and the amenities and so forth. But this is subject to being rezoned, the sale of the property.
Yeah.
And so at this point, they don't have a site plan in particular for this particular property.
But one I didn't think about, I'm assuming, and Pat made a good point, was I assume if that flood zone encroaches on a piece of that property line, they're going to stay as far away from that as they can.
Yes, sir, correct.
I would assume. Okay. Okay, certainly don't want to put any undue burden, more so than it already is on the existing homeowners. I guess that's a little bit comforting. And I know we've already touched on this, but if we approve the zoning of this, and this still has to come back, the site plan has to come back for final approval, and if the council doesn't.
Site plan is not approved by the
Okay,
council. This is the only time you're going to see this project is at the zoning level. You would if it was a planned development, but for just straight zoning, then you would not.
So it goes through where?
It goes to the staff, city engineer, public works director, and others, fire marshal.
Okay. Okay, those are all my questions at the moment. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Ms. Drake?
Okay, my turn. This is in my district, and I, like the others, I am not against growth. I am not against housing. I am not against the taxes. But I also have to look at my constituents and what they need and what they're concerned about. And I have walked those properties when they have been flooded. I have walked with Miss Allen. I have walked with Miss Toms back behind those houses. And I have seen what the water has done already. And that ditch was on my list that I gave to Mr. Godwin to get cleaned up, that has still not been cleaned up. It was on my original list that I gave. So that is a huge concern of mine. And the safety. When I was campaigning, I walked on 20th Street. And it is very dangerous, that street is. And so that is a huge concern of mine too. And I too have known the Stevens my whole life. My family and their family, we have known each other forever. I am not against them trying to develop. But I also have to look at my constituents and what they want, and they do not want this right now. And so for right now, I can't vote for it.
Okay. If others don't have a question, I have a question. Mr. Efrasi, 1 second, please. Mr. Stevens, one of the questions that I have is, and I'm not trying to suggest any property there, but would one of the easier ways of ingress, wouldn't it be to come further south, like property 920, 940, 960, where you could acquire that and enter there rather than at the curve of the street?
Yes, sir, that would be preferred, but there are no properties offered for sale right now, so we knew the landowners that join us at the tip on the southeast portion, and so since there was no houses available for us to go try to acquire for egress and ingress, we chose the back off of 22nd. You know, I pulled out on that road probably over 100 times. You've probably got over an eighth of a mile visibility to the south. Granted, there is a curve, but there are also huge yellow signs that warn you that you're going into a 20-mile-per-hour curve. And like I said earlier, you know, when we did the research with the Paris Police Department, they said there hasn't been a wreck there since 1995. So, you know, I don't really believe it's that dangerous of a section of the road.
Okay. I don't know how the council wants to proceed with this, but
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Can we hear what Alan?
yes, we sure. Okay.
I'm glad we got to hear what Alan had to say, so thank you.
Okay. I don't know how the council wants to proceed, but I would say that if a definite traffic plan is done, if a definite drainage plan is done, and if our residents of that area's concerns of drainage are started to resolve even before we start this project, I would be in favor of it. So that's my 2 cents.
I'll second you.
Okay, you took it as a motion, okay? All right, I guess I made the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any further discussion about it, first of all? Sure, please.
I appreciate Chad trying to give us a lot of scenarios on this, and I appreciate y'all trying to explain what y'all are wanting and how much effort and time y'all put in this and studying it. But if you look at the map, 1120 or 1130 is where my home is. It is at the corner or close to it.
1120.
Yes.
Yeah,
1130, I'm sorry.
1130, we see it, yeah.
And my uncle, he's right across the street from me. So the reason I'm speaking so much is because it's affected me heavily. I've been married 30 years. I have a beautiful wife. I don't want her sideswiped, and then I come to y'all. Y'all caused this. Y'all did this to my family, okay? There's other people are going to take that same chance every morning and every evening. And when we start having people die, it's going to be on y'all's shoulders, okay? You can wait for TxDOT, and you don't have anything that they're promising you right now. Another thing, Chad, y'all talked about the landscaping and all that, and I appreciate that. But on my back of my property, where y'all taken dirt out, and I'm not saying that's negative or positive in any way, but there is a lot of dirt gone, 18, 20 feet deep. And it's eroding the back of my property, all along all the property areas. That's why I'm here, but I've met a lot of new people and people that live on my street.
Sir,
and I've seen their
I'm going to
concerns.
request to please stop. Let the other gentleman speak, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We're on the same page. Y'all are saying that there will be no outlets on that curve. Is that right? That's the
Answer that.
safety
You have to answer that.
That's my concern, of the safety on that curve there.
We have 2 vacant lots before you go into that curve, and that's where the entry is going to be. Otherwise, we're
How far is that from the curve, actually? 150 foot?
Well, they're about, you can look at the cursor right there. Yeah, probably that, but
That's awful dangerous. I'm just telling you. I'm here to tell you, if they put an outlet there, you take the responsibility of the car wreck, 'cause there have been accidents. And if you'll notice, the utility poles are about 3 foot off the road, and the ditch is 3 foot off the road. And TxDOT said they're not gonna do anything to that, because they'd have to move all the poles, all the sewage lines, and the state said they're not gonna do nothing to that road. So my main concern is the danger right there of people coming down 195, going up there, coming off of Martin Luther, all this congestion. If you come in somewhere over yonder, maybe over here.
And sir, I'm going to ask you to please respectfully stop because we've heard it. At some point, we need to decide.
I just need to know, are they gonna fix the erosion control and all that kind of stuff off the back of my property? Or if it's just gonna be vague and it's gonna be the landscape by nature?
Would you answer his question, please?
I'm not in a position to dictate what's going to happen after we sell this property. We're going to sell it to a developer.
Okay.
But let me reiterate this, that why would they leave something unkept and brushy when it's going to affect their property? If they go out there and they have the trees cleared up, the brush removed.
All right, enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have made yes, Mr. Efrasi. At some point, we need to stop this discussion.
Right.
You're the last one to speak. I'm going to use my executive power this time.
So, all of us understand the complexity here. Let me offer a suggestion for consideration of the council. It was discussed in your agenda item, and a number of weeks ago, I submitted this to Mr. Stevens as well. If you consider rezoning to a planned development zoning district, then what we could do, there would be a legal requirement up front for a site plan and a number of other components. While I haven't discussed this part of it with Mr. Godwin, I think we can even develop a developer's agreement. There's broad latitude to address a number of the concerns. There's every presumption that what Chad was saying, that they would deliver on green space, open space, park-like effects, but there's no legal requirement. If he has a planned development, a site plan becomes a legal requirement, including addressing all the issues you have, maybe not solving them, but addressing them up front.
I wish you would have said that at the beginning, but thank you.
But you said you looked at my agenda.
Go ahead, Mr. Frierson.
Can you amend your motion?
Yes, I'll amend my motion.
To include?
To include the planned development part that Mr. Efrasi is suggesting.
Well, then they have to come back. That's a short period of time, coming back to rezone compared to all the time and money that would be involved in addressing this project.
I think that will resolve all the issues with them coming back to the council and giving us, and we'll have some teeth into it.
Well,
So
it goes to staff first,
Uh-huh.
the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then the City Council. It's a new zoning program.
Okay.
If we do it in a month or two, plus or minus, that's a shorter
The
period
one
of
question
time.
that I would have is, would you lose your buyers? Okay, let's ask one other question then. Is it possible to speed that process up instead of a month? We'll come back as a council and do a urgent meeting and come back for another meeting
What's your
if we have
timeline,
to.
Chad?
January the 1st is when they have to have all their paperwork done. That's the deciding date. And, we thought we was going to have this done back in November, of course it got postponed. So we're losing time here, and we're going to lose.
Let me ask two questions,
Yeah.
sir, please, if
Mhm.
I may.
Sure, please, go ahead.
Stephanie, you can jump in if you want, certainly, Mr. Godwin. Would you be willing to, over the next couple of weeks, I know it's a holiday, could we get at least a preliminary site plan to address the issues that have been discussed tonight? And staff will work with.
I can request it, but I can't guarantee it. I mean, like I said, they got 4,400 units, and this is not their only project, so I don't know what their timeframe is.
Okay, then-
Holidays as well as-
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think we'd have time to review that practically in any case. I think, given their dates, you're gonna need to approve straight zoning or not at this point.
Either that, Mr. Godwin, or else, since the presumption is everything that they want to do, they've outlined in NMF2, I'm comfortable with the zoning to give them a planned development zoning district at this time, if you're okay with that, right here this evening. Because they're talking about doing all the things that they want to do. We can just institutionalize it in the planned development and make what they want to do ultimately a legal requirement, even if you give it to us in February, March, or April. Would you be willing to do that? In other words, we're institutionalizing and making legal the things that you wanted to do. Open space, green space, linkages, addressing those things.
I would need to speak with the principal in this. I got a bid for them. He said Chad, how much is this going to cost me to clean up this whole thing? So I got him a bid, and he said, great. He said, we're going to move forward with this. We're going to clean this place up. It's going to be a show place.
Okay,
So I'm basing
give
everything
me
off
one
of him.
second. What does the council feel? Approve or with the way it is, and then say? Okay, I'll stick to my original motion. Do I have a second on that?
I will.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So motion, Mrs. Drake is against,
I'm
all
against
six other
it.
six are in favor. So it gets approved. We really and sincerely request, whether there are teeth in it now or not, you have got to take care of these poor people who
I
have
will do
spent
my-
all their time
I will
here.
do my very best.
And the city, it is council instruction, if I can take the opinion of all the ones on the council. You, Mr. Godwin, please address some way their drainage issues so that they don't have this issue. And one other suggestion, if you can acquire some other property to get ingress instead of that curve there, please see what can be done.
We will definitely look
All
into
right.
that. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. This item is closed. We're going to move to the next item. Item number 19 is conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance regarding the petition of Billy Joe Grant for changing in zoning from a split zoning of single-family dwelling district number 2 SF2 and multifamily dwelling district number 1 MF1 to a single family of to a single zoning of multifamily dwelling number MF1 on City Block 529, Lot 18 and 19, located at 610 Northeast 25th Street.
Okay. Counsel, Mr. Gant, the applicant, asked me to let you know that because of a prior commitment, he is in New York, and therefore, out of respect to you, he is unable to be here tonight. This is for a multiple family. The area on the subject property
If we
is
can
split
please have
zone.
silence over here. Hello?
They're leaving.
Yes, please.
Split zoning, multiple family. The applicant wants to extend the zoning for the rest of their property. The surrounding area is multiple family. The future land use plan shows multiple family. The staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval, and we'll be pleased to answer any
Thank
questions.
you. The public hearing is now open. If anyone wants to speak for or against, please come forward. If there's nobody wanting to speak for or against, the public hearing is now closed. How does the council want to proceed?
Make a motion, we approve the zoning change?
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Discuss on theft problem and sale of stolen property within the city of Paris.
Chief Unley?
I would like to speak on this matter too.
You want to speak first before him?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Ms. Lancaster.
I'm very concerned with the continued theft and sale of stolen property in the downtown, some of the downtown merchants. I know this to be true because I've witnessed it. I even got involved with one where a man stood at the front door of one of the antique stores holding a duffel bag full of stuff that he had gathered up and a large antique frame with mirror. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't really that smart. But I looked at that mirror, and I had seen that mirror in one of the antique stores the day before. The lady was moving out her mother's things. And I looked at him and I said, you know, I'll give you $5 for that mirror so I can give it back to who it belongs to. It still had the tag on it. And this, I'm seeing this daily. People are getting their doors kicked in. They run in and grab things. They'll take from one store and sell it to another store. Somehow, and I know there is a state law that says you must require people who are selling things through the door like that stolen mirror, that they have to record who had it, who they bought it from, maybe a driver's license. There's a specific thing similar to what pawn shops have. This is giving our city a bad name. You have no idea how embarrassing it is to have one of these, and they're vagrants, they really are, dump a duffel bag full of junk in front of a store and have ladies who came in on a bus on Saturday, not this Saturday, but previous Saturday, and say, oh, don't go in there, that's a junk shop. We don't want that kind of opinion of our city. And surely there's some way we can stop this. My house was broken into. My neighbor's house was broken into 2 weeks ago. And we're in an area that's pretty close to downtown. I don't know if there's a foot patrol you can do. I'd love to see that dog walk around down there sometime. But it's growing. It's good, and I'm seeing it every day.
Your turn.
When Ms. Lancaster brought this up to me here a while back, we made contact with our crime prevention folks. Penal Code, I think it's like section 31.03 on the theft statute, provides a presumption of theft if you're a secondhand dealer and you take property without getting that identification. It's a presumption of theft. And so what we've already done, what we're going to work on some more, is that we're going to go to the stores downtown and make sure that the store owners or the proprietors know that that statute actually exists and what harm they're putting themselves in by not asking for identification. And more often than not, if people are trying to deal in stolen goods, when they come in and somebody starts asking them for photo ID or identification or something like that, they're usually going to leave without giving that information. So we're going to do this two different ways. The first thing, we're just going to try to do a better job of educating our proprietors downtown to know what issues they're developing, because I don't think they may, I don't know right now. I kind of doubt it that they're taking down names and numbers and everything when somebody comes in. So we're going to make sure that they know that and know the risk associated with that. The second thing that we've researched about trying to combat this is that there are cities who have enacted ordinances specifically requesting that these secondhand property owners, antique owners, basically kind of put together a log of who all they're buying stuff from and what they bought, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And then when we do have stolen items that are being investigated by the officers, they can actually go down, take a look at that log and see what's going on. So that's what we're going to try to do to work on that, ma'am.
Well, I've seen this as early as yesterday, a table.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions, anyone? You have a plan of action?
We're going to try.
All right. Are you satisfied?
Well, all we can do is try.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But I do.
And the dog is making steps.
Oh, I know. I'm just
he's
saying.
down there.
Since most of these people that I'm observing, I have a booth down there, so I see it every day.
Okay. Right. Very good.
If your dog is as keen with his nose as I believe him to be, you can probably walk by one of those persons and he'll alert or fall over one or the other.
Okay. All right.
That was very long, but that's all right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hundley. Item number, where did we go? Item number 21. Discuss and possibly action on City of Paris requirement of natural gas services inspection acceptance of inspections of Atmos Energy after 90 days of no service. Before you start talking, I'm going to say to Mr. Flowers and Ms. Mosley, thank you for bringing it to the attention. I feel bad that the poor lady was without gas and whatever she suffered from. But personally, before you start, I'm going to favor anything that other cities have to make it easier, and Mr. Bell, whatever he said. So anybody wants to say something before they start? No, please go ahead.
I put together just a few summary points here. Currently, we work off of a 90-day shutoff, so if the gas is turned off for 90 days, then it's flagged on Atmos's end, and they have to contact the city to get a permit, and a plumber goes out and does the gas test prior to Atmos reinstating the service. That's sort of a building code. It's in the natural fuel gas code, excuse me, that talks about checks for leaks and the process to actually do a proper inspection. And it's the city's responsibility to look at the gas piping and all the appliances in the home before releasing it for connection by Atmos. So that's our current process. In 2011, this I believe came before council at that time. We were previously operating under a 30-day shutoff before we would require an inspection, and we increased that to 90. This is really sort of a public safety policy decision, if you will, on what's our tolerance for reinstating gas service without an inspection.
And I think me and Mr. Frierson were both on the council when we decided this. But if it is causing inconvenience, Mr. Bell is complaining, they are complaining. Go ahead. Short, please.
It says that Atmos doesn't inspect appliances or piping. I just had gas turned on. Here's what happened. I hired a plumber. The plumber came out and put a gauge on. Called for city inspectors. Someone from the city come out and looked at the gauge, and they never went in the house and inspect anything. I called Atmos. Atmos come out. They put the pressure test on the gauge. They pumped it up. They went in. They looked at every valve in the house. They checked every appliance. They went back out and checked the gauge, then they lit the appliance. So this is saying that the Atmos doesn't inspect appliances and piping. That's totally incorrect. The city doesn't inspect when you do a pressure test. They only look at the gauge. I watched them.
He is correct. In the past, that's what's been happening. It's not supposed to be that way. The city was at fault for not doing a proper inspection on that, on our behalf. But what?
And I'm going to ask you a question. If Atmos is doing this, why are we doing it ourselves too?
Years ago, Atmos kind of threw this into the city's lap.
Okay.
So
but are they
basically for the
willing, if
life
they're
and
doing
safety.
it in other towns, why can't they do it here?
You can't. You can waive that. I mean,
Okay.
every city, USA, big city, does do this.
Short, Ms. Mosley?
Down, and it's a storage building that we have a gas on, so I had to wait for him. And he came down, I said, this is totally ridiculous, 30 days or 3 months to come back and inspect it. He said he totally agreed that was nonsense, and he said he's told the city that he thought it was nonsense.
All right.
So there you have the inspector saying that it's redundant
Okay.
and over.
Thank you, Ms. Mosley. Council, any discussion?
Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Frierson.
She
Oh, sorry.
You had brought up, I guess, what other cities do, and we did make a few calls today just so we would have that for you if you'd like that information. Reno does not require inspections. Blossom probably doesn't. We did not call them. But the City of Commerce, Caddo Mills, and Sherman require an inspection for as soon as it's turned off. So any gas that has been shut off,
Okay,
they
so there's
require a permit.
variability there.
Greenville does 3 months, like us, and Sulphur Springs does 6 months, and Quinlan does 6 months.
Okay.
So there are other communities, and if we wanted to extend that, we could.
Yes, yeah.
I'd like to add one more thing to that. Now, that doesn't affect, if your gas has been cut off for a leak, all of that goes out the window. You have to hire a plumber, it has to be pumped up.
Okay.
Okay, and then the city inspection, what the city inspection should have been in before was, it's a diaphragm gauge. You crawl under the house, or at least you take a look under the house to see what kind of piping it is. People do everything out there. I had a daycare that run aluminum tubing under a house and expected it to be inspected. That was definitely a no-no. But what you do is then you go in and you look for combustion air. You look for the vent piping. You look for the supply lines. You look for the hard piping. Copper years ago was allowed in gas, and it now oxidized. The flares will blow off and it'll blow your house up. But in a situation like that, that's been cut off by gas company, yes, that inspection is required. The other is kind of y'all's say on how y'all want to adopt the plan on somebody has it cut off and then they cut it back. Gas company's going to cut it, but if they find something wrong, then the process does start again.
Okay. Questions from the council? Ms. Drake, Mr. Frierson, Dr. Clifford, anybody else? No? Ms. Lancaster?
Those.
Mr. Jenkins?
Oh.
Mr.
Wow.
Bernardo?
Those particular cities that you said do require an inspection. What type of inspection do they require?
The pressure test and then the inspection of all the piping as well.
Okay. Done by the provider, Atmos, or?
Then by the city. It is a permit required by the city.
We had a situation behind my house, a rather elderly lady, and even at the lower price was a big problem for her to get a plumber out and do all the things that had to be done. Nothing was wrong, it's just that she had been in the hospital and they had had the gas turned off.
All
But
right.
it did create a problem for her.
Can I make a suggestion to the council? Most of these people who are facing hardship is because of their time during winter and turning it off during summer and turning it back on during winter. I'll make a motion to change the dates to a year. If it goes beyond a year, then inspection is required. So it's a motion. Second. Any discussion on this?
Sounds good.
Are we talking about, and forgive me for this, are we talking about isolated incidents, or is this like a big issue that we need
Well,
to change?
Mr. Bell is saying that every time he has to rent out the place, he's having a problem. These are, they may be isolated, but one instance was with this person, whoever he saw, another instance with Ms. Mosley herself. So, I mean, I don't know the number of instances, but it sounds like it's a general problem. But if my feeling is, if the problem is coming because people don't want to pay their summer bills and it's hardship on them, if you make it to a year, then obviously it was turned off for some other reason.
And the gas company will put gauges on it and turn it. If they find something wrong, then the process does start the
Yeah,
inspection.
and I suppose it'll save some time for the city too. But anyway, discussion is on. All right, I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? No? All right. Thank you very much. Receive update on installation of security cameras in downtown area for police chief.
We've gone through some quotes from two other companies here in Paris. They took a little bit of time getting those back to us because of the complexity of the technology that's being used. We had some questions about the technology ourselves. Those questions have been answered. We just met with these guys last Monday or Tuesday, I guess it was, and we're pretty well ready to proceed. We've got a little bit of legal stuff to work through on the selling and exactly what we're expecting out of them. And as soon as we get that paper taken care of, we'll be ready to proceed. Now, what they're telling us is that once I think we have to pay half down to get them started and everything, but once we get this moving, they said it won't take but maybe at the most 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm really confident that before the end of January, we'll see them up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions? Your item? No question. Thank you very much. Before we go to item 23, I'm going to make a motion to combine item 24, 25, and 26.
Sounds good to me. I'll second you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody opposed? Okay. Any discussion on these 3 items? Their approval of the same taxi cab license that we've always done? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay. Going back to item number 23, discuss construction of an airport hangar and provide direction to staff. Mr. Godwin?
This is an airport grant we talked about, or hangar grant we've talked about quite some time. Hangar's misspelled, I noticed. And the deal is this: there's $1,066,000 that's available between our money and the state's money. That's only going to allow us, once bids came in, to build a 4-unit hangar. We were hoping for 8 or 10. Jerry's here. He's the airport manager, contract airport manager. FBO. He'd like to say a few words if he has an opportunity, even though I know it's pretty late. And everything he's going to say, I'm going to agree with, in that we really do need that bigger hangar. But I don't have $433,806 lying around, so that's the issue. It's not that anything he's going to say or think is remotely wrong. We really need it. I don't have almost $500,000 to spend on it that I know
What
of.
is the suggestion? Do it or not do it?
My suggestion is to do it the way it is, and then hopefully we do add-ons in the future. Of course, that's always hard to do, because lots of times when cities are going to, fix something in the future, they never get around to doing it, and that's the downside. So I'm kind of hesitant to sell them out. But
Okay. Any of the council members have any questions on this item?
No.
How does the council want to proceed with it? You should come up and speak.
Yeah.
This, the airport board at the last meeting recommended that, this discussion be had. And, but anyway, the last time we had any hangars built at the airport was in 1999 to 2000, it was the last row of 10 hangars. In 2007, we tried to do the same exact project then, and because of the same reason, the project was way over budgeted, or it came out way over budget, and it got canceled and dropped. I'm not sure why it did. I'm not, in fact, maybe Carla can explain. She did to me a little bit. I did kind of understand, but why our project got so underfunded this time. We were looking for 10 more hangars, and we ended up with just 4, which is a lot less than we need. We have 26 people on a waiting list at the airport right now. We got about 10 airplanes in a ramp, or like 6 actually right now, and then some others have found little hangars they can put their airplane in different locations. But anyway, the bottom line is we've got a great need for hangars at the airport. Other airports around here have been developing, Mount Pleasant, Sulphur Springs, even Bonham has built a big box hangar, some other smaller hangars. We haven't done anything in 16 years. I just hate to see this thing go from 10 hangars to 4 hangars. And we have all, they got the funding for the 4, and a lot of the equipment's going to be coming in. We just need to fund it. So
I'm going to say something which is very politically incorrect, but I'm going to say it anyway. If the hangars are renting for $150, and I don't know what they're renting for, but for a minuscule amount of money, how do you expect the city to spend $500,000? Explain that to me, please.
I cannot explain that to you because this was a TxDOT funded project. The last row of hangars we had built was privately.
No, but you're asking the question that why are we why are we reducing it? We're reducing it because we get nothing out of it. So you have to allocate funds to wherever one gets better income out of for your own city, not for good of any of these 7 people sitting here.
Well, the airport, a lot of times gets that, it's not operating in a black, it's in a.
Believe it or not, we want the airport to develop.
But one thing I like to see with to justify this is the hangar rate does need to go up across the board for all the hangars, which we have about approximately 45. That you could have 45 hangars that I do collect rent on. They're all paid for. I would say we should raise the rent on some of these hangars. Can't raise it a lot, but to justify the expense, and it probably wouldn't be enough to offset.
But at least it's a step in the right direction.
But I mean, I get a call all the time. Not today or a couple of days ago, we had a guy call up, want to move to Paris. Hey, I got a nice airplane. He's got a glass airplane, a $450,000 airplane. Want to move to Paris, retire here. Hey, can I put my airplane here? No. Okay, well, I'm going to go look somewhere else, move somewhere else. We lost that guy. He's a taxpayer. He's got a great investment. No telling what, he would bring to this town. It happens all the time.
I have no doubts, and I'm not wanting
Mount
to
Pleasant's
just
building them. Bonham's building them. Silver Springs. Why can they do it? We can't.
Please help me out with the answer to this question.
And it's a great question, but, and I guess I just don't know. How did they fund theirs? How did they do that?
I mean, those are city-owned airports, just like Paris, exactly the same way we'd fund it. They budgeted and they build the hangars. These are city-owned public airports, just like ours.
Ms. Drake?
I agree, we need the hangars, but finding the money is the problem, as usual.
Kind of supply and demand. If there's that many people that want to go there, then we're not charging enough for the hangars. Is that right?
Well, there's a big interest too in people building hangars. And this will probably come up in the near future too. We'd like to see a streamlined thing to get where people can build hangars at the airport. In fact, we just did do another.
I mean, can they be built privately?
Right. Another problem with building private hangars, like right now, we've got a big airport, a lot of ground. There's no infrastructure. Like if somebody wants to come out and build a hangar, they say, where can I build a hangar? And I say, well, over here, but they have to build a taxiway to it, and because there's no structure to it.
But see, I find that to be an easier problem, because the thing about it is, if somebody is investing the money in building a hangar, we should at least contribute some towards building the taxiway.
I agree. Yeah.
And again, I don't have any problem. I love the airport, and I'm a big proponent of helping the airport out, but I don't know where to find the money from. So I think if you can come up with some novel ways.
What do these other cities around here, do you know what they rent their hangars for? Are we comfortable?
We're not out of line. We may be a little cheaper. We haven't raised the rent in probably the same amount of time since we've had hangars built, which is about 16 years. So I know we could raise it some and it'd be justified. It definitely will not offset, unfortunately, the cost of
Right.
this project. Now, because it's a TxDOT project, for some reason, it really got inflated. I mean, TxDOT's great, and, since it's a 90-10 deal, it works out good for the city in a certain sense, but as far as taxpayers in general, I know we could have built 10 hangars for the amount of money we're spending now easily, and that's not the 10%, that's the whole 100%. We probably could have built 2 rows of hangars for $1 million plus, but because we're good stewards and we go through the TxDOT process and use their funds, and the city actually ends up paying less, but overall, you spend a lot more money for a lot less.
Why, just out of curiosity, why is that? They want to rob TxDOT out of money? Is that what
it starts off with, like, you got to have an engineering firm. They get 10% of the project. KSA Engineering did a project. They get 10% of it. They come out to engineer this project, and I'm not saying they inflate it, but it's inflated enough, I'm sure. And they don't want to, I can't really explain exactly why it gets that way, but it just does.
Okay.
It's
Mr. Tornado?
Yes, I don't know if you answered. Can you have these done privately? Like somebody come in, a construction company and put them in and then rent them out?
That's something we can pursue. I haven't really done. We looked at that in the past somewhat, and most people want to make 15-20% of their investment, and it just doesn't quite get there. So, yeah.
Mr. Jenkins?
Can you find out a little more about that or anything, or get back to us? Or?
Yeah, I could check into it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, Bart Jamar is he's going to do that. I didn't know he had agreed to do it, but yeah. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Jenkins?
I have no questions.
Ms. Lancaster? Bring us some options. I think every one of the council members wants the airport developed. And we'll help out in any way or form, but come up with some novel solutions, and we'll try to help out. I'll speak for the council and say that.
Okay. All right.
If you want us to meet more frequently, if you want us to do whatever it takes to help the airport, absolutely 100%.
Okay. Yeah, we just had an opportunity with this project coming forward, and we're hoping for more hangars. They just, for whatever reason,
Okay, but
didn't
then
work
you know
out
what,
that way.
if I can suggest, please put this item back on the agenda next time, and let's rediscuss and see if we can come up with some novel ways of affording it.
Okay, but to clarify, this is a TxDOT run project, not a city-run project. So they're moving forward.
Yeah, we need to,
So-
this is something that had to be done
so
soon. We don't want to delay
we're
the
kind of
project.
already
We
too
can
late
go
to-
for the four
So it's basically
hangars.
approved.
Yeah, now, I feel confident that if you went to the contractor and said, hey, we'll give you another $400,000 to do more work, they'd probably, well, then we'll slow down, because they haven't started earthwork. But this is a TxDOT run project. It's a little different from normal grants where we run the projects and they give us money. In this case, they actually do the engineering, they do everything.
So what are they wanting us? They're wanting us to give $500,000
Yeah, they said that
on a
it-
project that they've already started?
right, they said it's gonna cost us another $433,806 if we want to make it bigger. That was the bid price.
And so right now, what are we out
We
for
spent
this for?
$106,000, something like that.
And what they're asking for money is to increase the size.
Right.
To 10.
And we've got it budgeted for that
We've already
lower
spent the
amount.
money. That money was spent several months ago.
No,
so-
it's not budgeted.
I
The
know
ex-
this
the-
part is.
The extra part is not budgeted.
I know that,
Yeah.
but the original part.
Yeah,
we
the original
budgeted.
part is
Yeah,
budgeted.
that's what I'm
Budgeted
saying.
and spent.
Okay,
So that's why we're basically out of the project unless we want to tell TxDOT, hey, we want you to change it for us and we'll
change
give you
it
a
for a
bunch of money to
10
make
unit
that
instead
happen.
of a 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
and again, good idea, but is that the best use of your $400,000 with everything
We've
else
got
we have
people's
to do?
homes
so.
flooding, I know. Okay.
Thank you. All right. We are at
27.
item number 27. Discuss and act on an ordinance of the City of Paris amending Article 5 of Chapter 21 of Code of Ordinance of the City of Paris, Texas, providing for prohibiting loud and noises which are deemed offensive to persons of ordinary sensibility, providing for a penalty not to exceed $500, repealing all ordinances or part of the ordinances in conflict herewith, providing in a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All I'll address this.
Short address.
Yes, sir. The chief of police came to me some time ago saying they were having some difficulties enforcing the noise ordinance. In fact, we actually haven't enforced the noise ordinance that was written in 1970 and hasn't been updated since. In my experience in the municipal court, I was prosecuting noise violations under the state law, disorderly conduct, but that's limited to noises made in a public place or in or near a private residence that you have no right to occupy. The proposed ordinance in front of you is not vague. It is more specific. It gives the public more notice of what constitutes a noise violation and gives the police a little bit more leeway in order to enforce loud noises.
Okay. Any discussion on this item?
I have two quick questions, or one really. Will the police have the right to issue a verbal or a written warning prior to being a ticket?
Well, they could, but they're not required to, except for, if I'm not mistaken, we passed an animal ordinance earlier in the year, and that has a specific provision for giving notice when it's somebody's animals, because that's harder to control than whether you're laying on your horn or playing a really loud music in your car.
Makes your whole house shake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a notice requirement. This punts back to the animal ordinance for animal noises, but there's not a requirement for a violation notice prior to issuing a citation. And that would be difficult anyway, because you've got somebody in a car out in front of somebody's house. I mean, you just need to be able to issue the ticket.
Right, okay.
Second? You said two questions.
Oh, no, I just one.
Okay.
I'll
All right.
refrain from the other one.
All right, I'll take a motion on this item.
I make a motion, we pass this.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay. Can I ask a favor of the council to table item 28? It's another long discussion item, maybe for the next council meeting.
I'm okay with
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Discuss and act on naming of a street located at North Main and Campbell Soup entrance. I read what the city manager had said, and before we start a discussion, I'm going to make a little suggestion, and then the council can discuss it and do whatever. You know, Mr. Marvin Gibbs was one of the instrumental people in bringing both these Campbell Soup and Kimberly Clark. There is no street named after him.
Correct.
And he didn't take city funds or anything to do this. And my suggestion would be, instead of naming it Soup Street or Freight Street or whatever street, we give it keep the street as Marvin Gibbs Boulevard.
Sounds like a great idea.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to do that.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, there is the new name of the street.
Thanks, Carla.
Item number 30, Mr. Ponders is not here. Mr. Ponders is not here, right?
He's not here, correct.
So table, I'll make a motion to table item number 30.
Well, you can, if we've got the
Oh.
list of properties, you can go ahead and approve it without him here.
Okay. I don't have a list of properties.
Oh,
Do we have a list? Oh, we have a list of properties.
there's a list now. I don't know that
Okay.
was-
I'm not going to refrain from taking a motion on this item, so I'm going to recuse myself on this. So, we will not table this item, discuss and act on a resolution approving the private sale of multiple tracts of tax foreclosed properties and authorizing the mayor to execute deeds. I have a little conflict of interest here, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay.
And this is just simply the sort of thing we do periodically where we started doing about 6 months ago with Tracy, private sales of tax foreclosures. We don't have to just wait for the 2 or 3 times a year we do a public auction. Some properties came up, and that we had a buyer for, and so we want to go ahead and sell these so we can get get them back on the tax roll and recoup some of that tax cost. So again, kind of a routine thing, or it's becoming more so for us.
You want me to read all of these?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We have we have a resolution that
Resolution, do I hear
we just
to approve the sale of these properties? Do I have a motion?
Make a
And we
motion.
recommend we
Anybody
approve the
care to
sale.
see
I'll
them
second
first?
I haven't seen all of this, so.
Would you like to see those?
No, that's fine.
Steve, you made a motion, particular?
I made,
And who seconded it?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Back. Item number 31, convene into executive section pursuant to section 551.071 of Texas Government Code, consultations with the attorney to receive legal advice from city attorney about pending or contemplated litigation and or matters in which the duty of a city attorney to his client under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of State of Bar of Texas clearly conflict with chapter as follows. First National Bank Building, 104 Bonham Street. Time is 7:58 p.m. We are going to go into executive session. Did we break all records of council meetings tonight or not yet?
We did not yet.
How much more time do we need?
30 minutes.
Okay, so we'll continue on. Okay.
Been here till 9 o'clock before.
We are out of, what the time now is, what's the time now? 8:27 p.m. and we are out of the executive session. Discussion was done with reference to the, what bank? is it?
First National Bank.
First
building.
National Bank Building. 104 Bonham Street. And attorney advice was taken. I'm going to make a motion to approve the city manager to hire a structural engineer to evaluate the situation with the First National Bank Building and report back to the council. That's my motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Where were we on the agenda?
Number 32.
Number 32 is reconvene, well, no, we already done that. Consider and approve future events for the city council and pursuant to resolution 2004.081. I want to present an item next council meeting, and I'm going to call it the Street of Dreams. So if we can please put that on the agenda, and I'll discuss that item with the next council meeting. Street of Dreams.
Street of Dreams.
And I would like to request an update on the 2 ditches in my district where we've had the engineering report, and just sort of give me a timeline as to where we go, the next step, and sort of when. I've had some people ask me about that.
You got it. Mr. Frierson, we are waiting on you.
So moved.
Second.
I don't know, I want to try to set the record.
Oh my God, don't say that.
Oh, yeah, call it.
Wait a minute.